Hey, what's cracking, everybody? Welcome to China's Red Line. It's me, your guy, your main man, Lewis. Sorry, I just thought I'd do like a regular style YouTubers intro there. It's like, hey, yo, what's up? It's your boy. It's so annoying, isn't it? I hate that shit. But anyway, guys, welcome to China's Red Line. I hope you guys are doing well today. We are finally live. Sorry, I'm a little bit late, but it happens. It happens. So, as usual, we've got an interesting live stream for you today. I'm going to be showing you some footage that I took at the Tiananmen Square massacre vigil that happened in London on the 4th of June. So 4 days ago. We've got some footage from that. We've got some other things to look at regarding China, obviously. So let's jump straight into it. Let me just load up my screen here. Okay. We're ready to rock and roll. All right. Hope everybody's doing well. So here we go. What have we got first? Alrighty. This. Yes, this. I keep seeing this propaganda from the CCP on Instagram, on Twitter. They like to post about Tiananmen Square here in the Western world, but they don't post anything about it in China. If you go onto the Chinese internet, you won't see anything about what happened at Tiananmen Square in 1989. All you'll see is you'll type in like Tiananmen Square massacre. Even if you just type in Tiananmen 1989, nothing shows up. The massacre part, it will show you stuff from the Nanjing massacre that happened during the Second World War and leading up to the Second World War. But there'll be nothing about the Tiananmen Square massacre. But they love to post their shit all over Twitter, all over Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all of the stuff that's conveniently blocked by the CCP. So this one says, we remember the PLA soldiers who sacrificed their lives defending the country against domestic terrorism on June the 4th, 1989. So a bunch of students who want democracy are apparently domestic terrorists. It's laughable. It's laughable because the only ones that came in with weapons were the PLA, the People's Liberation Army, right? And yeah, if they did die, well, they possibly deserved it because they were the ones who started indiscriminately attacking the students. And I suppose maybe some of the students would have felt obliged to defend themselves, right? From tanks and bullets coming your way. Their propaganda is absurd. It really is absurd. And this is just a part of it. They post a hell of a lot. I just happen to find this highly offensive. And yeah, just thought I'd show you guys. Sorry, I just left my tea over here. I'm just going to reach over and grab it. Need to have a sip of my tea. Alrighty, well, anyway, let's move on. We've got a fair bit to look at. I just wanted to highlight how ridiculous it is. Okay, so we have in Hong Kong, right? Hong Kong is supposed to have this autonomy from the CCP, from China. They're supposed to have this, what is it? One country, two systems. So they have a separate system. They have a separate political system from the CCP. So the people in Hong Kong, they're supposed to, on paper, be allowed to protest, be allowed to criticize the government, talk about politics without worrying about getting locked up. However, since 2019, a lot has changed because China freaked out because there was a lot of, again, similar to Tiananmen Square, the Tiananmen Square massacre. There was a big pro-democracy protest that happened in 2019. Hundreds of thousands of people attended. the CCP freaked the hell out, introduced this national security law into Hong Kong, and now you cannot even criticize the government. You cannot even have a vigil for the Tiananmen Square massacre anymore. You can't freely express your opinion about the government and that kind of thing without fear of getting locked up. That's why hundreds and thousands of Hong Kongers moved to the UK. The CCP basically took the joint Sino-British declaration that was supposed to give Hong Kong 50 years of autonomy from the CCP. They've taken that and they've just wiped their asses with it and just scrapped everything. Didn't honor the treaty, didn't honor what they signed. It might as well have just been signed on toilet paper and Xi Jinping wiped his ass with it, right? And now we're seeing people in Hong Kong, even this lady who was literally gesturing the number 6 and the number 4 with her fingers in Hong Kong. And she looks around 70 years old, right? And she was taken away by the police because she was gesturing 6 and 4. The 6 meaning obviously June, and the 4 meaning the 4th of June, the date, which China really, really cannot stand. Okay, 8964. And look at what happened to her. It really is. I mean, there's a reason why so many Hong Kong and I'm sorry, I don't speak Cantonese, so I can't understand what they're saying. But yeah, it's ridiculous, man. Putting her in the meat wagon. Just how absurd is that, right? Just for gesturing with her fingers. She's getting thrown in a police car by about 8 different police officers. Yeah, because it really takes 8 police officers to haul in a 70-year-old grandma for using her fingers to gesture a date. Welcome to Hong Kong, guys. Can't even do that with your fingers. Like, seriously. How about we do that with our fingers, This ridiculousness. Okay, so on the date, the 4th of June, there were a lot of separate vigils all around the UK. Some of my Hong Kong friends in Sutton had a little event. I was invited to it, but unfortunately I couldn't attend. In Birmingham, which is these photos, they had an event in Nottingham. Just any big city here in the UK that you can think of, they probably had a Tiananmen vigil because there's a big Hong Kong population now in the UK, right? So this happened in Birmingham. But unfortunately, in Birmingham, some little pinks tried to ruin it. Now, let's have a look. Unfortunately, we do not have them doing the act on camera, but allegedly, these little pinks, one of them, these little pinks from China, by the way, a little pink from China is a way of saying a nationalist. It's a very popular phrase in Taiwan, 小粉红. It basically means little pink, which is another word for Chinese nationalist. And these ones, oh my God. So apparently, allegedly, and it's not on camera, they hurled insults at the people who were at the vigil. And then one of the little pinks actually kicked over some of the candles. And one of them was recording on their phone. I would really like to see her footage. But this is the aftermath And if you listen to what they're saying, hold on. So she's saying, you guys are sick. And F your mum. She says, F your mum. And this is at an event to commiserate the terrible atrocity that happened in China. And they're coming here to the UK, a country where we have free speech, and they're using our freedom against us by doing this, by propping up their awful, horrible government's narrative that it was a color revolution, CIA funded. Get the fuck out of here, man. Like, what are you doing here in the UK? Like, why are you here? Why are you doing this? It's disgusting. It really pissed me off. Okay, so here they are, guys. This is the Hall of Shame. If you're out and about in the UK and you see them, just remember that they said, "Tao ni ma, F your mum," to a bunch of people who are literally having a vigil for the terrible, terrible Tiananmen Square massacre. Just awful, awful, horrible little shits, actually. Let's see it again. And the people at the vigil were shouting, "Go, go!" And yeah, I totally don't blame them. Oh God, it's so frustrating to have to deal with these ones, you know. It's so annoying. All right, guys. So I figured I would just show you guys. I didn't want to put this in my video because some of these speeches are a little long. I put out a video on my Team Taiwan UK channel earlier, but yeah, some of the speeches, they're a little bit long, but I figured here was the right place to show them. I figured it would be quite useful to have them on this live stream, to actually have some people talking about them. In fact, one of the people talking was actually there. And one of the things is a message from one of the mothers of one of the protesters that died at the Tiananmen Square massacre. So there's some real poignant stuff here. So I think we should listen to it and yeah, just have a nice listen, and it's going to be interesting, I think. I didn't want to include it in my video just because it's too long and to throw it in there, you know.
Here, in front of the Chinese embassy, we are standing together to mark the 37th anniversary of the 1989 democracy movement and the June 4th massacre. Our vigil this year has a significant theme: carry the light, keep the fight, or in Chinese, 永志长明. This is to honor Xiong Zhiming, one of the student protesters who was murdered in the massacre, whose father passed away recently. We will recount his story. We will also broadcast the testimony from Zhang Xianling, a member of the Tiananmen Mothers.
My name is Zhang Xianling, 88 years old. On behalf of the Tiananmen Mothers, and as a family member of a victim myself, I would like to express our profound gratitude to each of you. For 37 years, you have refused to let the world forget the massacre. Thank you for remembering those courageous people who shed their blood in the streets to defend our rights. At that time, China was entering its reform era, and corruption began to surface. Under the dual-track pricing system, well-connected individuals abused institutional power to amass obscene fortunes, while ordinary citizens struggled with soaring prices and housing costs. This economic injustice sparked widespread public resentment. At its critical moment, university students took to the streets to urge the government to crack down on corruption. In those years, corruption was called official profiteering, which described how powerful elites accumulated mass wealth by monopolizing sacred goods. The student-led movement received widespread support from all walks of life who wished to see an end to rampant corruption. Yet instead of addressing these public grievances, the authorities deployed hundreds of thousands of heavily armed field troops and tanks to brutally crush the peaceful demonstrators. The violent crackdown resulted in massive casualties, devastating thousands of families overnight.
暴政必亡！暴政必亡！
说英文吧，英文。
Take down CCP!
Take down CCP!
Take down CCP!
Take down CCP!
Take down CCP! Free China!
37 years ago, I was a young student studying petrochemical engineering at Dalian University of Technology. Like millions of others across China, I was inspired by the hope and courage of the student movement that began in the spring of 1989. In early May, we joined demonstrations in Dalian. Then in mid-May, I traveled to Beijing with around 2,000 fellow students from my university. We stood in Tiananmen Square alongside students from every corner of the country, united by a simple dream, a more open, just, and accountable society. I still remember the atmosphere in the square. The speeches were passionate and inspiring. There was hope, there was idealism, there was a belief that ordinary people could help shape a better future. On June the 2nd, we were instructed by organizers to return to Dalian. There were increasing warnings that military action was imminent, and they feared students from outside Beijing could become trapped. 2 days later, the massacre took place. What followed was devastating. I witnessed the unbelievable lies and propaganda that criminalized peaceful students as enemies of the state. A month later, traveling through Beijing on my way home to East Turkestan, I found a ghost city. Armed soldiers stood everywhere. Fear hung in the air. People spoke in whispers. The white terror was impossible to miss. 37 years have passed, yet those memories remain as vivid as yesterday. Looking back, Tiananmen was not an isolated tragedy. It was a warning. The same system that crushed a peaceful democratic movement in 1989 went on to suppress Tibetans, Hong Kongers, Southern Mongolians, human rights lawyers, religious believers, and countless Chinese citizens. For Uyghurs, it resulted in decades of escalating persecution that ultimately culminated in genocide. Today, as we remember the victims of June 4th, we must also recognize the connections between these crimes. They are not separate stories. They are chapters of the same story. If there is one lesson from the past 37 years, it is that impunity breeds further atrocities. This is why we must stand together, Uyghurs, Tibetans, Hong Kongers, Chinese democracy advocates, and all those who believe in freedom and human dignity. We cannot afford to face those challenges in isolation. Our solidarity is our strength. The brave students of Tiananmen dreamed of a future built on truth, justice, and accountability. The greatest tribute we can pay them is to continue that struggle together and to ensure that those responsible for crimes against humanity, massacre, and genocide are one day held accountable. The victims of June 4th deserve remembrance. The victims of today deserve action. And the future generation deserve better. Thank you.
Yes.
Whoa.
My name's Ben. I'm a housing worker just nearby. I'm a representative, a local representative in the Unison Trade Union and an activist with the Socialist Democratic Group Workers' Liberty. Thank you for inviting me to speak today. I want to take this opportunity while we remember those killed in 1989 to highlight the 82 workers who were killed in an explosion in a coal mine at Liu Shenyu just 2 weeks ago. These deaths are not mere accidents. Those miners were killed by a rotten system, a system that prioritizes profit and power for state bureaucrats and business owners over the lives and the liberties of the vast majority of society. Despite reforms, profiteering mine owners in China still dodge regulations. They employ desperate workers in unsafe off-books operations. They're enabled by state inspectors who collude with bosses, and above all, by a CCP party state that bans independent trade unions and represses workers' efforts to organize and assert their interests, their needs, and their safety. We can see the same brutal consequences in Hong Kong. Beijing crushed independent workers' unions, and last year, deaths in the workplace surged by 55%. This is a party and a state that calls itself socialist. It makes a mockery of the word. And after the record heat wave last month, driven by global warming, we must also recognize that those workers were killed mining coal. Chinese coal production is at record highs, and it still supplies the majority of China's electricity generation, despite Beijing's green posturing. State bureaucrats and capitalists, East and West alike, are driving all of us into a catastrophic crisis. And it again is the same prioritization of their profits and their power over our lives at a global scale. And in the modernizing and renewable industries too, which China prides itself on, the Chinese state prides itself on, profit comes before people. China's growing solar industry rests on forced Uyghur labor. And half a world away in Congo in Africa, Chinese and Western business owners alike are fueling child labor and bloody conflict in a competition to profit from mining the minerals crucial to electronics and battery technology. And the technology corporations built on that labor and those electronics, from China's Hikvision to America's Palantir, are enabling regimes of racist surveillance and oppression, from the digital prison imposed on the Uyghur people to Donald Trump's assaults on migrants and Israel's mass murder in Gaza. Now, I believe that the people who stood up in 1989 in Beijing and across China have something to teach us about what we have to do today to break out of these crises.
Good stuff there. Good stuff. Hope you guys were paying attention to that. Yeah, I could repeat everything that they said. I especially like the part where the guy said that China isn't really socialist, and it makes a mockery of that word when they say that they're a socialist country. And also the fact that they're just one of the biggest polluters on this planet. Anyway, guys, so let's never forget the Tiananmen Square massacre. let's always call it out, and let's always try to talk about it as much as we can, especially around this time of year. It's very important. The CCP are trying their best to change the narrative. They've brainwashed all of the people in China. Not all of them, obviously, but a huge portion of them aren't even allowed to talk about it, don't even know that it happened anyway. And it's kind of going that way here in the UK as well, unfortunately. It seems that China's propaganda and their narrative is having an impact on the UK. They have a huge influence here, and unfortunately, more and more people are not hearing about what happened on that horrible, horrible day on June the 4th, 1989. So let's never forget it, guys. Anyway, let's move on. We've got a couple more things to look at today. So this one is just an article that I found. So the article reports that Chinese authorities have declined to participate in an upcoming High Court judicial review concerning the proposed Chinese mega embassy at the former Royal Mint site near Tower Bridge in London. I've covered this to death. I've covered it to death on my other channel. I've streamed about it so many times. I've made countless videos now. So anyway, the key points. So China purchased the Royal Mint Court for $225 million in 2018, and they want to build what would be the largest Chinese embassy in Europe, right? And it covers roughly around 5 acres, and the building has at least 200 rooms. The project has been controversial, not only with myself, but with other people, and it's twice been refused planning permission by the Tower Hamlets Council. So there's a judicial review that's been brought by local residents and supported by opponents of the project, such as myself. They even had a GoFundMe. It's scheduled to begin on the 14th of July next month as a final attempt by the residents of that area, because the CCP is now their landlord. It's a final attempt to change the development, to get the CCP out of there. The Chinese embassy informed the judge who's overseeing the case that it does not intend to participate in the judicial review proceedings. Conservative politicians, including Ian Duncan Smith and Tom Tugendhat, God, I don't know how to say that, sorry. Whatever, Tom, let's just call him Tommy Baby, strongly criticized the decision. They argued it showed disrespect for the British legal system and raised concerns about whether China should respect UK laws and processes. The article also notes that the project has attracted international attention, with members of the administration of Donald Trump reportedly expressing concerns about the embassy proposal. Do you remember there was a massive concern from the White House about it? Obviously, local residents have complained about the barbed wire. Do you remember this barbed wire? Where is it? I got a picture of it. There it is. So residents complained about the barbed wire fence. Well, it's not even barbed wire, it's razor wire, which is 10 times more dangerous. Obviously, they put this up as a precaution because there were some youths who tried to climb over the fence. I spoke about it last week, I think. So anyway, China is refusing to participate in the judicial review, and obviously that is lame from them. It just means that they're afraid, and obviously they know that there's going to be a good case against them, and I'm pretty sure they're shitting their pants. So anyway, I just thought that was interesting. We've always got to keep talking about the mega embassy, because like Tiananmen Square, that's probably going to be forgotten about. China has this good way of erasing things from our minds. Okay, guys, so I've just got some clips now that I found just, trawling through different sites, you know, where there's stupid clips about stupid shit happening in China. There's so many of them, it's ridiculous, man. So I just found a couple of them. This one cracks me up. Let's have a look. Here we go. So it's another robot fail. For some reason, this robot's wearing a clown wig as well. And so I thought I would put the appropriate clown music on top of it, because China's always trying to brag about their amazing robots. But the reality is, like I spoke about last week, their robots suck. And they're just a joke. And I think that they're mostly going to be used for entertainment purposes rather than doing anything useful. Like this one here. Oh. Gotta hurt, G. God, that's so stupid. It always just like, they always end up kicking a child as well. These things are dangerous. Just want to see it again. And they're not even autonomous. There's somebody controlling that robot. If someone actually controlled it and kicked the child, I wonder if he can be sued. Up the torso. All right, yeah, this is like some chaotic scene where people are fighting over some food. A trans robot, maybe a transformer. Look at that as well. Would you eat from that? I know I would. Pretty disgusting, man. Would you guys, like, honestly, would you eat that? I wouldn't. I wouldn't. You've got this like sort of like China scenic area, right? You know, and look at, by the way, look at the sky, look at the pollution there. You know, it looks awful, doesn't it? It just looks like you're gonna like suffocate if you breathe that air. And then you just got this couple, these couples like having a fight there. It's just ridiculous. You know, welcome to China. This is a great video for their tourism, I would imagine. Jesus, I mean, I wonder what happened. It was probably just some stupid like altercation because maybe somebody cut in line or got in the way of a photo or something, and it's resulted in this. All right, guys, and I want to finish with this. So this is a public service announcement for you guys. Just remember to pay attention where you're walking and don't just look at your phone when you're walking, especially when you're on a mountain. Yeah, remember to pay attention to where you're walking. Do not look at your phone when you're on a high mountain. And I have no idea what happened to that guy, but what a silly thing to do, looking at your phone when you are climbing a mountain. Yeah, it sucks. Anyway, guys, that is all I have in terms of material for today's live stream. I hope you guys enjoyed that one today. Got some weird clips from China. We got some unique footage that I filmed at the Tiananmen Square Vigil. And of course, we talked about the Mega Embassy. So yeah, thank you so much for watching today, guys. And now I'm just going to look at the chat, although there's not that many of us in today. Oh, these streams never do well live. Like, people don't watch it live, but then like last week's stream has over 2,000 views. You know, it's crazy. Like, a lot of people, I think a lot of shills from China came on and watched it because there was some ridiculous comments. Yeah, I'm not going to get into it though, because I just ended up blocking these people because they're just idiots. But yeah, I think like because of the title, you know, I think what was the title? Like, China is proof that communism works. Oh, really? That really rubbed people up the wrong way. So yeah, it's quite funny, really. I'll have to start doing more stupid titles like that attract people, bring in the views, you know, cha-ching. Yeah, it's kind of silly. But yeah, anyway, guys, do we have anything to say? If not, I'm just going to end the stream, you know. I have to admit, I'm a bit tired today for some reason. I don't know why. I think it's the weather here in the UK. It keeps changing. Like last week, no, a couple of weeks ago, we had a heat wave. Then as of last week, it's just been raining and miserable every day, and it's a bit cold. Look, I've got like a hooded top on, you know. It's just silly. This weather is stupid. You could make a new section. Yeah, sure. I mean, I could. I kind of don't want to focus on them though, mate. You know, I'm trying to sort of like be more positive and not focus on the negativity, although it's very easy to focus on it. But yeah, that could be an interesting segment for the show, I guess. Yeah, I'll definitely think about it. Definitely think about it. I do get enough of those comments to even make a whole 1-hour video about it, you know. But yeah, it's ridiculous. But yeah, it is. It's a good idea. It is a good idea. We're all here on purpose, Lewis. Thank you, mate. I appreciate it. I know this stream doesn't get as many views as it should. It deserves more, in my opinion. And yeah, it's good that people do watch it after we've gone live, but it would be cool if more people could join when I'm live, I guess. But I just don't know. Maybe it's the time, maybe it's the day, just people aren't online, maybe. I don't know. We have more hot weather coming, apparently. Well, you would think so. I mean, it is summer, right? So yeah, hopefully. Yeah, because yeah, it's pretty miserable out there recently. Negativity sells. Well, it does, yeah. Unfortunately, it does. But I'm trying to be more positive. That's one of the things that I've said to myself fairly recently, I guess, but you know, sort of within the last 6 months or so. Try not to focus on negative stuff. Try to stay positive no matter the situation. And you know, for the most part, it's kind of worked. Although every now and again I do fall into a negativity slump, I guess you could call it. But yeah, things are okay, you know. I just try to look on the bright side. You know, the glass is half full. Any comments help promote a channel, even hostile ones? Well, it's true. It is true. It is true. And I get plenty of those. I do get a lot of positive as well, so it's all good. Yes, I know about that. He told me all about it. And all I can say to Mike is welcome to the club, mate. I have been targeted and harassed by the CCP for years now, and it sucks. And I wouldn't wish that on anybody. plum rains in Taiwan this week. I don't even know what a plum rain is. Thumbs down count the same as thumbs up for YouTube's algorithm. Yeah, and you know, you can't really see the thumbs down, can you? You can't really see the down votes unless you have a add-on extension on your Google Chrome. Then you can see how many dislikes people got. But yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Any engagement is good engagement, right? All right, guys. Well, that is it, I'm afraid. I am ready for bed. Honestly, I'm really tired today. But thank you so much for joining me, and I hope that the stream didn't send you to sleep too much, didn't make you too knackered. But yeah, thank you guys for joining me today. And I'll look forward to next week when we do another live stream. I always look forward to this. This is like the highlight of my week, doing this live stream for you guys. So thanks for joining, and I will see you all next week on China's Red Line. Peace.